And we're live. Hello, Podfeet.
And we're live. I like how you do it so professional, stopping at 3.
Well, you don't want to be counting down live, unless you're maybe launching a rocket.
Oh, right.
Which there were a couple big ones lately.
I wanted to talk about our garage. Yes, there were big rockets. You did a good job launching those rockets, but not such a good job with the orbit on one of them.
Yeah, not such a good job with the first stage on one and the second stage on the other. But that's for another discussion.
Well, everybody's saying that the garage looks huge. This thing is tiny. Like, it just barely fits our 2 cars.
So I just recently went out to take a photo with the 2 cars in it.
Oh, good.
So you can kind of get a feel for how tight it is. Although the cars are... This will explain why it looks so big, because the cars are distorted.
Well, the cars aren't in it in that shot.
Oh, it's HEIC. Hold on. Let me trash that.
This is exciting.
Sorry.
You know you're an adult when you're super excited about your garage floor. I'm really sad, though. Our cars are leaving footprints on it. Made me really sad today when I noticed that.
So that's what the car's in it. Her car and the cars are not that wide. It's distorted because that's on a 0.5.
Yes, Andy.
Lens.
Yeah, you can't walk on the right side of my car. You can just barely, like, if you turn sideways and suck in your gut, you can get out of the car on Steve's side. Yeah. But there's nothing.
You might want to notice the license plates.
Oh, yeah. There you go, John. That's normal. Most people can't fit 2 cars. We're very proud of ourselves. So Bruce says the audio is messed up.
Okay, who? Both of us? Which one?
Is it messed up for anybody else? Oh, Frank, there you are.
We haven't done roll
Those
call.
Cars are huge.
We've been chatty.
For Europe, they're big.
For Kevin, anyone else got bad sound? Okay, I think the sound's okay. It might just be you.
Must be in your head, Bruce.
I want to refresh. I'm not sure what device you're on, but there's Jill's call. That's probably a live shot.
Oh, okay. That is a tiny garage. I will give you that.
That's tight. Can you get out? Jeez. That looks
she climbs out of the sunroof.
The left side, but
Steve's a little quieter. I made him turn himself down, because I was hearing everything. Like, I can hear him tapping on his trackpad. It's good I'm losing weight.
I'm down to
She's lost a lot of weight. Well, we actually could get
47.
We should get going. What's 47?
My gain. I just turned it up from 33. Oh. All right.
Here we go. All right. It was missing half of the garage there. Yeah, that is a tiny garage and organized. All right. Here we go. Ready?
Hold on. I pushed myself out. I got to push myself back in and get the chat going again. Sorry.
Oh, because you refreshed to see if it was you?
Yeah. Okay. I think we're back. Bye.
All right. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, January 19th, 2025, and this is show number 1028. Well, buckle up, everyone. This is going to be a mammoth show, so you might want to kind of pace yourself. We have 4 CES interviews and 1 full-length review by me of one of the products you're going to hear about in one of the interviews. It's also Security Bits Week, and that segment is nice and meaty, too. Chapter mark. And all right. Well, in Programming by Stealth this week, as promised, Bart and I are back with part 2 of the PowerShell teaser. We pick up where we left off, starting with learning about parameter definitions and the advantages of such a structured language, that what it affords us, including automatically generated help files and error checking. Bart updated the show notes to include valuable resource. I'm going to do that again. In Programming by Stealth this week, as promised, Bart and I are back with part 2 of his PowerShell teaser. We pick up where we left off, starting with learning about parameter definitions and the advantages that such a structured language affords us, including automatically generated help files and error checking. Bart updated the show notes to include valuable resource links to take your PowerShell to a higher level. Then we walk through our plan for 2025, where Bart is going to teach us about GitHub pages, which power the Programming by Stealth show notes, by the way, and then how to change the style you see with Bootstrap to make it your own. After that, we expect to get back to PowerShell. You know, that's a ways down the road, so you never know. Things could change. Oh, it says I should save. Kevin says that. Why does that take so long? There we go.
So you're doing clockwise next, right?
Mm-hmm. Why?
Oh, there it is. I was looking for you. There, I see you now. Got it.
Looking for me?
In the episode, usually they list the guests. I couldn't find you. Now I find you.
Okay. You didn't think I was a guest?
Well, I was trying to confirm that I had the right episode.
Oh, okay. Don't drive drunk. Oh, it's on a garage door that had to be replaced. All right. Whoops. Oh, I did that wrong on the previous one. One moment here. I thought that looked wrong. Okay. All right, here we go. Well, I got to be on Clockwise again this week, this time sharing the guest chair with Brian Guffey, along with hosts Micah Sargent, Dan Morin. As you probably remember, it's 4 topics, 4 guests. Dan asked us whether we use CarPlay. My answer became the title of the episode, Neither, but Sorta. You'll have to listen to understand why that's funny. I asked for examples of unusual uses of AI they might have seen because I had 2 crazy cool ones that I wanted to talk about. Then we discussed Sonos' struggles, including how they dropped the ball on accessibility. Finally, we talked about the probable demise of TikTok. Depending on when you're hearing this, it might be on, it might be off, who knows? Even though that last topic was sad for me, overall it was a rollicking good time as always. You can find episode number 588 of the Clockwise podcast in your podcatcher of choice, or you can follow the link in the show notes. All right.
Lindsay, welcome.
Lindsay the
Haven't
daughter.
seen you in a while. Well, except for about an hour ago.
We were just bothering her on FaceTime today. All right, let's see.
She brought the beers. Good, because I know if you're bringing the beers, they're going to be good beers. I'm guessing they're going to be a little on the hoppy side, no malt. They'll be fresh hops, poured expertly.
You always think that I don't pour beer well, and I do.
No, I don't think I said that.
Yes, you have.
Well, there may have been an instance.
You sure you know how to do it?
Well, I'm just yanking your chain there.
Go get your own darn beer. It's supposed to should be the answer to that one.
But,
all right, Ed, what kind of beer do you want? John says, my stomach has never complained on how I pour beers. Oh, guess what? We might get to meet Franco Carroll in real life because we are going to Japan in April, and we might get to meet him. Yay. All right, let's hear how that lines up. Follow the link in the show notes. Those 2 things need to be over there. Link in the show notes. There's a large group of people gathered around a dyslexic screen, and I'm here with Bertrand Descours from the dyslexic screen, and I'm just curious, what is this?
It's a specific screen that is being developed to help people with dyslexia. I don't know if you have the figure in mind, but dyslexia represents nearly 10% of the population in the world. And so people with dyslexia have this reading difficulty. And They use usually monitors and computers, and so here it's the first screen that uses a specific technology to help them.
All right. Well, I'm definitely familiar with it. I did not know the statistic was that high. So how does this work?
So we know that people with dyslexia have usually visual stress and visual difficulties, and so this produces a strobing effect, a flickering effect. Can be a bit disturbing for some people, but for dyslexic people, they will adjust it to the good position, and the frequency they will find will be the comfortable point for them.
So you're purposely making it flicker,
Yeah.
but flicker at a frequency for the individual.
Yes, yes.
All right. I'm going to come in here at the end of this. What did I say his name was? Shoot. Mr. Discourse. Bertrand.
Discourse. Bertrand
Okay.
Discourse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After I got done talking to Bertrand, I ran over and grabbed Rob Dunwood, who works for the Daily Tech News Show and was there representing them that week, and dragged him over because he has dyslexia. And I'm not sure this works for everybody, but he said that it was really, really cool. It wasn't, I'm not sure he was as impressed with the screen itself, but that lamp that we talked about at the very end, that's actually been around for a while, he said that made a really big difference for him. And he has a terrible time reading books. So he was pretty excited about it. Again, I don't know whether this would work for everyone, but it's sure worth a try. Save. That's a good idea. All right. Boy, Steve, I am really hearing a lot of sound when you unmute. But I think you might be right. I think it might be the downstairs heater. All right. Bumper. There we go. Bart's going to be annoyed because I'm doing the same bumper every time. Flick. Okay. That's not the bumper I want. I want the same bumper. Let's see, how does that line up? Yeah. Everyone, but it's sure worth a try. Apparently, I've been asleep for the last 10 years because I just learned about the Flick button from Laura from the company Flick, F-L-I-C, and they have a much more advanced, different options available today, but we're going to start at the beginning because I didn't know about it, and she's going to explain how Flick works, and then we're going to learn about the new things announced and that are here at CES today. Thank you for listening to us,
Thank you. So I'm going to explain the first product that we launched 10 years ago, which is the Flick button. It's basically a wireless small button that you can connect your smart home devices with, and instead of having to go through the different devices or apps, you can just control all of them through a single physical controller.
So this button is maybe the size of a quarter and maybe 3/8 of an inch thick. You can stick it on a wall, you can carry it in your pocket.
You can have it in your nighttime table, like whatever you want, whatever, like it's simple and convenient for you.
Okay, so the original Flick has push, double push, and hold.
Yeah.
Nice and simple.
Exactly.
And you can assign actions to what that's going to do to maybe scenes or different devices.
Exactly. For example, if you want to automate like your morning routine, where you typically use lights, blinds, and a speaker. So instead of going through the different devices, you set them up in the Flick app, which takes up like 1 or 2 minutes, and then you're set to go and just push, and all these devices will be activated at the same time.
Okay, so she's going to talk in there about the Flick button, the Flick hub, and the Flick twist, and the Flick duo, which I did not get one of. So I am going to do a review of that immediately following this. Let's see. Come on. Why does this not always work, Jill? Maybe I'm doing the wrong keystroke. No? Is it supposed to be Control, Command, right arrow? I'm supposed to be able to jump to the end of the line. No. Function Command? That's it. It's Function Command. That's why. All right. So I don't think I'm going to do a bumper in between. but I am going to do a chapter mark because I'm going to do a review of these things. Kyle said that it's going to snow in Houston. Hasn't snowed there since 2021, which I think was before they moved out there. All right. New Orleans snow chains? Yeah. He said the schools will be closed because there's going to be 1 to 2 inches of snow. All right, here we go. After my interview with Laura, she gave me some products to test. As she explained, the original flick button can be used just with the Android or an iPhone. The Android? Who wrote this? Oh, no, that's correct. Never mind. After my interview with Laura, she gave me some products to test. As she explained, the original flick button can be used just with the Android or iPhone app, but it would be a personal device that can't be used by others if you do it that way. If you get the hub, like the Hub LR, you can attach 1 or more flicks to your network or even add them to HomeKit. For the Flick Twist or the new Flick Duo, a hub is required. Laura gave me a Flick starter kit. Flick starter kit? Laura gave me a Flick starter kit, which is 3 Flick buttons and a Hub LR. She also gave me a Flick Twist to test. Now, before I dig into the details, I want to let the voiceover users know that the app is not very accessible. I found a lot of unlabeled buttons and actions that simply could not be performed. I did write to Laura to let her know that they need to add a lot of loving care to make it accessible. Really wish I had better news on that front, but let's forge ahead. Now, if you've had any experience at all with smart home devices, you know that they're a bit of a nightmare on the fiddly scale. You may have to turn off your 5 gigahertz network so they can find the 2.4 gigahertz band, or you might have to turn off your VPN, and for certain, it will take you at least 11 tries to get them connected into HomeKit. And don't read ahead. That was the next joke. Now, if you've had any experience at all with smart home devices, you know that they're a bit of a nightmare on the fiddly scale. You may have to turn off your 5 gigahertz network so they can find the 2.4 gigahertz band. You might have to turn off your VPN, and for certain it will take you around 11 tries to get them connected. And don't even get me started on adding things to HomeKit. Well, I'm disappointed to tell you that adding the Flick buttons and the Flick Hub LR to my network was a flawless experience. When I do this kind of experiment, I always take screenshots along the way so I can pinpoint exactly where everything went horribly wrong in the process. But things literally never went wrong. The first step is to install the Flick software on your phone, again, iOS or Android. You create an account, and you allow the Flick app to find Bluetooth devices. Come on, quit stumbling. Too many stumbles. The first step is to install the Flick software on your phone, again, iOS and Android. You then create an account and allow the Flick app to find Bluetooth devices. I was then invited to add it to a hub. The Flick Hub LR is smaller than a deck of cards, and it feels like an empty box. It's so light. It has a micro USB connector, which was a little bit annoying, but again, this is an older model. It has an Ethernet jack, an audio jack, and an IR sensor. I have to confess, I have no idea why it has an IR sensor or an audio jack. When I saw the Ethernet jack, I just assumed that I would have to plug it into the switch on my router and the micro USB to USB-A. Why am I stumbling so much? When I saw the Ethernet jack, I just assumed I'd have to plug it into the switch on my router, and the micro USB to USB-A cable, which is, again, annoyingly old school, was quite short, so I was going to have to dig out a longer cable. Luckily, this tiny little box that weighs nothing actually has a Wi-Fi radio in it too, so I never had to plug it into my router. Now imagine my delight when tapping the Add Hub button immediately found the hub over Bluetooth, and when selected, instantly showed me a list of available networks. Oddly, my main and guest networks were in the list 4 and 3 times respectively, but I just tapped on the first instance. It asked for my Wi-Fi password, and my Eero software instantly announced that a new device had joined the network. The Flick software immediately asked if I wanted to add a Flick button to the hub. Seriously, I've never had a home automation device added to my network more seamlessly. Okay, you think you're so good, Flick. How about adding the buttons to the hub? I tapped Add a Flick. It told me to hold the button down on the Flick, and in about 3 microseconds, the Flick app said, pairing complete. After that, it invited me to rename my Flick and invited me to add automations to 3 different ways to press the Flick. As Laura mentioned, there's push, double push, and hold. But above that was the tantalizing switch that said Add to HomeKit. And now we're talking. I'll get this thing to be fiddly. Well, I flipped the HomeKit switch, and it told me that a configuration was needed. It said, and I quote, before we can add this Flick to HomeKit, you need to pair the Flick Hub with your home. We'll guide you through this process if you proceed. Please keep in mind that any action already configured to this particular Flick will be erased. Well, that's really good information. So if you want to use your device with HomeKit, do it before you waste time on other actions. We'll come back to those options in a moment. I agreed to the configuration setup for HomeKit, where it was disappointingly easy. It asked to access my Apple Home data, select a home, and then dang it if it didn't instantly recognize the hub as a bridge. Now, this is the step where HomeKit products always fail. You have to do them like 11 times, right? I simply tapped Add, selected a room, renamed it, and added it to my home. So disappointing. It was no challenge at all. Well, once you've added the hub to HomeKit, you set the actions taken by the buttons through HomeKit. I keep forgetting that and opening the Flick app and trying to change it there, but it keeps politely reminding me, remember, you put this in HomeKit. I set one of the Flick buttons to enable the scene I use to get my den ready for the live show. This scene does things like disable the landline in Steve's den so it doesn't ring, and it turns on my front and back lights. I have another scene that turns the landline back on and turns off the show lights. I'm sad to say that the Flick button didn't work at all to enable and disable my live show light setup. I pressed and double pressed that button over and over again, and yet nothing happened. Finally, I got some fiddly behavior. Till Steve came storming out of his den and said, "Are you turning my lights on and off?" Well, it turns out we both have scenes for the live show, and I'd chosen his 2 scenes instead of mine. So I'm pressing this button on and off and on and off, and its lights are just flashing in his room. Oh well, so once I chose my scenes, the Flick worked properly. Now, on my Mac, I use Keyboard Maestro, and I have a macro that sets up all of my software for the live show. It puts my Mac in Do Not Disturb. It turns off Wi-Fi. It does a whole bunch of stuff in the operating system. I started thinking, what if I could turn that into a shortcut, add it to the HomeKit scene, and have it all happen at the press of that Flick button instead of 2 separate operations? I whipped open ChatGPT and I asked it to build a shortcut that triggers a Keyboard Maestro macro. In a flash, it explained that I could copy the UUID of the macro from Keyboard Maestro, and using the correct URL scheme, I could make it into a shortcut. That was super cool. Totally worked. Unfortunately, you can't add a shortcut to HomeKit, which is just silliness. ChatGPT explained to me that you can create a dummy switch and add a shortcut to it, and then add the dummy switch to HomeKit. I remember running into this when I created an automation to turn a bunch of stuff off in our house when we go on vacation. I think this adds one more bit of complexity to the situation, which might make this a really silly idea. But you just know I'm still going to try to do it, right? Can you look for the word got in this one, Steve? It says got on vacation instead of go on vacation. So it's the paragraph, not the paragraph above the Flick twist photo, but the one above that. Steve? Is Steve still with us? Is Steve still here? I can't hear you, Steve.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. Steve went out for a drink. Yeah. Did you find it?
No, you said 2 paragraphs above Flick twist. It starts with on my Mac.
Just do a search for got on vacation.
Okay.
On the page, and you should be able to find it. Oh, you could hear him. Okay, so he was muted over in StreamYard. All right. Once I had the Flick Hub LR and the Flick button working so easily, I moved on to the Flick Twist. This is a round puck about the size of the palm of my hand at 2.5 inches in diameter. It's about 3/4 of an inch tall. It has a round button in the middle with a ring of segmented lights around it. The package includes 2 AA batteries to power the device. I didn't mention it earlier, but the regular Flick button uses the replaceable CR2032 battery that we all know and love. Now in the Flick app, the Twist shows up with 4 operations it will recognize: twist, push and twist, push, and double push. I tapped on twist and it took me to a page where I could choose a parameter to control. It supports light functions including brightness, color, color temperation, and saturation. Did I say temperation? I don't think that's a word. Now in the Flick app, the Twist shows up with 4 operations it'll recognize: twist, push and twist, push, and double push. I tapped on twist and it took me to a page where I could choose a parameter to control. It supports light functions, including brightness, color, color temperature, and saturation, if your bulbs support any of these parameters. It can do things like change the volume on audio or set the level of your blinds. There's an advanced section for advanced dimming and even a scene blender. That sounded fun, but I started playing that section and it was way above my pay grade to understand all those things it was trying to do. I told it to change the color on my lights, and then it asked me which devices I wanted to control. I found Philips Hue was in the list of options. Once selected, it told me to go press the button on the Hue hub, and as soon as I did, it was ready for me to add some bulbs. I added one of my lamps, and sure enough, twisting the twist changed the color. And my bulbs don't seem to get that rich of a color change, so I set it to be a simple dimmer, and it actually works quite well. The dial lights up as you rotate, which is very satisfying. By the way, I've talked to a few people about the Flick devices and the hub, and their immediate thing is, I don't want another hub. And I get that. I understand how adding complexity, adding a hub seems annoying, but the Hue hub really sold me on the idea of hubs. Notice all I had to do was press that one button, and now every light bulb all of my smart light bulbs from Hue are all involved and can play with the Flick Twist now. I would have had to do every one of them individually if it wasn't working on a hub. So, and it sure is making things easier with the Flick, so I'm not really against having all those hubs. Now, if we get back to the fact that I'm using this really advanced device as a dimmer, I think the Flick people are going to lose their ever-loving minds because it can do so much more. In the actions menu, you'll find, I saw 30 or 40 integrations from Nanoleaf to SmartThings to Sonos to Spotify and more. I know she said 100, so I might not be seeing the full list depending on what you're asking for. Anyway, if you add that to the 4 independent actions you can apply with the Twist, and it's a home automation user's dream. Now, one more thing on the Twist, it has magnets on it, so it might be fun to hang it on a refrigerator or something else in the garage. The Flick buttons have an adhesive on the back to hold them in place. They're very satisfying to press in my hand, though, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that. On the other hand, I could stick one of them to the underside of my desk so I could turn on the live show lights like a bank teller alerting the authorities to a bank robbery in progress. Now, the only time I experienced any fiddliness at all was on a few occasions the app would fail to connect to the hub to do some configuration. I never found a reason why it was doing that, but most of the time it was as annoyingly responsive as everything else I've described. The only other thing I'd suggest for Flick is some way to identify which Flick is which. The first thing I did was cut a tiny part of a sticky note and stick it to the bottom and numbered them, and that way I could keep track of which one was which. I'm going to have to work on my imagination to give the Flick product some heavy lifting to do, but until I do, I'll be happy turning my live show setup on and off and dimming my lights. The Flick Hub LR with the 3 Flick buttons in the starter pack will run you $169. If you don't need Ethernet, you can get the starter kit with the new Flick Hub Mini, which uses USB-C, by the way, and it's only $99 with the 3 buttons. The Flick Twist by itself is $80, and you can buy it in combination with other devices. Their shop page gives you every combination you might be interested in. I'll say it one more time. These are the least fiddly home automation devices I've ever used, and I've used most of them. If you're interested in these products, you can go to flick.io.
But I thought everything was fiddly.
Oh, man.
Do you need to add that?
Yeah.
Maybe I have to revise my tagline that everything's fiddly.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ad lib this. Now, Steve's listening in the live show, and he just pointed out that I may need to get rid of my tagline, "Everything is fiddly." That was weak. Let me do it again. Now, Steve's listening in the live show, and he just pointed out to me that maybe I'm wrong when I say everything is fiddly. There we go.
Second cut was much better.
Yeah. I saw something about numbering I wrote is doubled in there. When I talk about numbering them, I cut a tiny part of a sticky note to the bottom and numbered them and then numbered them.
Okay.
Can you make it only say it once?
I
am going to
like
have
it
to
twice.
talk to my editor.
It's very numbered. All right. We'll take care of that.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Guess what? This is going to be, you may not always be right, but you're never wrong. Let's see what I have next. I'm going to do 10 minds. You're not going to believe it. Guess what this interview starts with me saying?
Everything's fiddly.
Yeah, no, that would have been really funny. No, but it starts with me saying sleep tracking is stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Alistair and I have had a huge argument in Slack. We've gone back and forth like 20 times. I think we're probably annoying everybody else, but at the end of this, the ending will surprise you. Let me play this beginning here. When I say everything is fiddly. Whoop. I forgot my chapter mark. Uh-oh. I always worry when Kevin says he's shipping us something.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, it was a meat grinder the first time.
Yeah.
Second time he stole my childhood toy. And then there was the little plastic meat grinder too. He threatened to send us sausage. All right, with 100% disagree with you on sleep tracking being stupid. I love it. Oh, you'll have to tell me why. Why do you love it? I think it's stupid because there's no way to measure what causes your sleep to be good or bad. As soon as they come out with that, then there's a reason to track your sleep. All right, here we go. Everything is fiddly. So I just walked up to Zenora Andrade of 10 Minds and told her sleep tracking is stupid and that her job is going to be to convince me that whatever they're doing here about sleep is not stupid.
No, not at all. Let me prove to you why, okay? So this here is going to be the AI Mopil. This is going to be a device that sits on your bedside. This here is going to have an AI microphone that picks up snoring frequencies and it learns your specific snoring frequency. Once it hears that you started snoring, that's actually going to activate this pillow here. There's nothing electronic inside the pillow. It's all in this component. What that does is that sees where your head is positioned, and then it's going to elevate one of 5 panels. What that does is elevate your neck, get those breathing passages and nasal airways open, and get your snoring to stop. Once it hears that your snoring has stopped, then it slowly decompresses. Now, that data is also paired with the app, and that's pretty much going to give you a sleep score throughout the night, or tell you what position you were in, you were snoring for how long, how deep of a sleep you were able to actually achieve, and then also let you adjust different things because it pairs with items such as the Oura Ring to give you a little bit more data. Like maybe it was a day you worked out super hard, now you're sleeping a little bit heavier, that's what caused you to snore. Just to kind of pinpoint what it is that's causing you to snore and how to prevent that in the future.
Yeah, so that's the thing I always get back to is if you can't figure out the root cause of something, then the reason I say sleep tracking is stupid is it's like weighing yourself every day.
It's true.
You don't lose weight because you weigh yourself. You have to count
You gotta
the
figure
input.
out why. So this is at least just trying to gather as much data as possible so you could possibly pinpoint what it is exactly, and maybe even take that to a health professional as well to show them, hey, this is the data I have. Why am I snoring when maybe this is the temperature of my room versus not, and then do further tests that can probably help.
So it's checking temperature as well?
Yes.
Okay.
It pairs with breathing patterns, everything now, since it's compared with other devices like the Oura Ring.
So if you're snoring, are you by definition not sleeping well?
You aren't, because your brain is getting less oxygen to it due to that interrupted breathing.
Okay, I like the idea of something doing the change that I don't maybe have to watch all these different metrics.
Exactly, exactly. It really will work on its own. The device is honestly just for extra data, just so you can see as to maybe why certain information is causing you to be that way.
Well, I don't think this is stupid.
I'm glad. See, I told you I could prove it.
All right, so the company is 10 Minds.
Yes.
Where would we go to find?
We're based out of South Korea, so we're still looking to launch this version of the product, but previous versions without pretty much so much depth, like pairing with the Oura Ring, is available right now. We sell it at the show for $349.
Okay, that's without these other features.
It does pair with the app right now currently. It's just not as in-depth and connects with too much like smart home and Oura Ring, but it does give you data through the app right now, currently the market.
It does tilt your head to make you stop snoring.
Yes,
I want the thing that actually fixes it.
It does. It does. It tilts you. It gets you going, gets you breathing properly, and then it slowly
relaxes you down.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
All night.
Where would they find the 10 Minds?
10 Minds, we're based out of South Korea, so we really just have it on 10minds.com right now.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an interesting idea, Lindsay. If it makes you mentally be more accountable to yourself because you know you're going to have to face that number. So that's kind of like looking at the scale, right? You know, you face that, you look at that number and you're like, I don't want to see that number tomorrow. I'm going to change my my behavior. Yeah, no, 7.5 hours. 8's a lot better, isn't it, Sandy?
What's that?
All right.
Did you put a chapter mark in the previous one?
On 10 Minds, yes, I did.
Okay.
I was late on that. Now I'm putting this one in the wrong place. It occurred to me this next one is it doesn't really fit with anything technical, does it? It's about flooring.
Yeah, but let's see.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
That's fine. I mean, not everything you do is extremely technical. Like,
Yeah. Let me see how this goes. It's a little bit late. We're walking down the show floor here, and a woman is running around throwing pieces of floor down on the ground and invited me to kneel on it. And I had to go over and talk to Doug McNeil and find out, what are we looking at here, Doug?
Well, behind me is Hiroshi, and he used to work for Yamaha.
Actually, I'm going to get rid of that annoying cough. Here, Doug?
Well,
Just for old Doug, let's get rid of that. Nobody wants to hear that. Oh, I've got a button for this, editing. Here, Doug?
well, behind me is Hiroshi, and he used to
liked
work for
his cough.
Yamaha motocross racing, and he developed a special polymer that absorbs the shock in the motorcycle. Then he decided to take the same technology and put it underneath laminate and carpeted flooring, and he's installed that in over 600 hospitals throughout Japan, each hospital reporting an average of about 5 falls per year, which resulted in a break of a hip or a leg. And now they're all reporting 0 incidences of broken hips and legs.
Isn't that crazy? He says per hospital, right?
Average of about reporting an average of each hospital reporting an average of about 5 falls per year, which resulted in a break of a hip or a leg.
That's
and
a
now
lot.
they're all reporting 0 incidences of broken hips and legs
That was over what time period? 5 to 6?
within a year.
But I mean, 5 to 6 per day, per year, per week?
5 falls per year, which result in the break of a hip or a leg.
Okay.
And then
All right.
that's a pretty short one too.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
like 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes.
I still don't have a money jingle.
Oh no. Oh, yep. Drop the ball there. I've been doing some editing. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
So I'm going to do a blog post about to explain this, but I want you look at, to the live audience, look at the links that Steve's been posting in the show notes, like to Magic Shields, and look below the blog post, and you'll notice that there's now a full transcript with like it's actually an accurate transcript. It's not like my unedited ones that I normally do. And I'm doing that because I realize that there are a lot of people who like to read but not listen to the show. They like to just read the blog posts. And I realized I'm doing a lot more interviews like CES, but also like when Pat Dengler's going to come on the show, I don't make her do a standalone review. I bring her on and I ask her questions. And that format seems to be working. And it's a lot less work for me. It's a lot less work for her. But we lose the blog post. So I'm hoping that with these transcripts, maybe that will fulfill that need. I'm just curious whether you guys have noticed it, would care. Maybe you guys are just listeners, so it doesn't affect you as much as the other people.
Because this is a new feature.
Yes, a new feature.
Just added this year, actually for CES.
Yeah. Notice for obvious reasons. You like it? Is he wearing a samurai sword? I think he is.
He is. He's a martial arts guy, and I think he developed the absorbent flooring for his training, for purposes of training.
Yeah.
Impact.
We use the blog post for searching and going back to find material already covered. Yeah.
You know, that is a side benefit. It's now searchable. Whereas before it wouldn't be as.
Yeah,
searchable.
well, it's searchable in the giant blog post or the giant transcript for the full podcast, but that's a little harder to find, I think. Having both is
here
great.
You've got it individually for this specific topic searchable.
All right. Zoe's saying she uses both. Kevin says it could be useful. Yeah. It's a little bit of work. It's not too bad, though. Keeping up with Steve is the hard part.
Yeah.
All right. Time to panhandle for money. This week, I got an interesting email from a lovely gentleman named John Denning. He was writing to tell me that he was having trouble with the donate option for the podcast, the one that lets you use a credit card or Apple Pay. To show me where the problem was, he included a video screen. To show me where the problem was, he included a video screen recording from his phone, and it showed me where the Buy Me a Coffee website wasn't as easy to read with voiceover as it should have been. One of the interesting problems was that instead of saying, "How many coffees do you want to buy?" it said, "Hot beverage," and then multipliers. Well, if you know that the emoji for hot beverage looks like a coffee cup, maybe he would have had a chance. There were a few other places the interface could be improved for accessibility, but John persevered and successfully made a nice donation. I especially liked what he wrote about the show. He said, "Love the podcast. It's great to hear people who appreciate research and facts versus just taking things on faith because they like the source. I also love the photos you share on Mastodon. I'm blind, but the descriptions you include enable me to enjoy them. Thank you." Well, I have to say, one of the things I love about Mastodon is that alt tags, these descriptions of the images, are expected. I've been getting more and more positive feedback on my descriptions from Mastodon than any other service, and it motivates me to do an even better job of describing my images. I even throw little jokes in sometimes for the blind. Well, all of this is a long-winded way to say that John is an awesome guy for writing such a nice note and for making a generous donation. You too can write me nice notes and go to podfeed.com /Patreon. Nope. And go to by going to podfeed.com /donate to show your support for the show. Let's see. Nice notes by going to podfeed.com /donate to show your support for the show. Color me astonished too, John. Security bits, music, and then we're going to do a chapter mark here. And the show isn't going to be too long.
How long is security bits?
Oh, it's long. It's 53 minutes.
Mm.
It's a big one. We had fun. Oh, I'll let you hear the beginning of it because I made Bart laugh. All right, and now let me find Bart. Why is there a chit-chat from 11:14? It's from last week. Hang on, I got to listen to it.
11/14? That's November?
Yeah, that's from last week.
I don't think...
January, sorry.
There we go.
I've got that in the wrong week. can't do that, can I? Yeah, I thought I could do that. Just a second. Open a new tab. 12. Wait a minute.
What?
No. Didn't I play? I played Adam last week, right?
Adam Angst, I believe you did. Let me confirm.
How could that? That was on the 12th, but I recorded with him on the 14th. Oh, no. Oh, no.
January 12th. I don't see Adam.
Oh, no. I was supposed to play it that week. Well, guess what? It's going in next week.
Okay.
I can't put two of those in.
Yeah, you
one
had
week.
Andrea Jones-Roy
Last week?
last
Okay.
week.
Oh, oops.
Well, I'm glad you noticed it now.
Yeah.
Adam's probably saying, oh, she must not have liked that one. Just didn't play
You know,
it.
he likes the standalone version, so
Okay.
I saw something all tags before. But I can't find the mistake now. Okay. Now. Okay. Put you out here and put Bart out here. And I'm going to Option T on this one and then Option T on this one. And then scroll over here and grab these two. And then drag them over till they line up about right. And then get rid of this one. You want to hear Bart's plink, Steve?
Always.
Okay. Blink. Ooh,
Very precise.
it was. Let's see, get rid of that one. Cut that one. Get rid of that. Slide that straight up. And then take both of these. I made Bart laugh. Let's hear the beginning. I gave an unexpected beginning. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Doom and Gloom with Bart Bouchatz, otherwise known as Security Bits. Cut you off
After all
guard that
these
time, Bart.
all these years, you still managed to catch me. Oh well, I love it.
That's
Hello,
fun.
everyone.
What horrors do you have for us?
It's a mixed bag. We have two deep dives because there isn't a huge amount of news, but there is a surprising amount of follow up. It's like a lot of the show notes are up here at the top, where it's kind of stuff we talked about last time, and it wasn't done. It wasn't fully baked. So, as we were recording last time, it had just happened that Apple had settled a lawsuit. I think it was a class action. I think it was in California, but it's definitely in the United States. And it was to do with the fact that Siri had a habit of falsely triggering. It would hear you say, "Hey, yes, lady," when you absolutely hadn't. And they
Yeah.
were simultaneously paying outside contractors to randomly view an average sample of like 0.0001% of recordings to see if Siri was being silly, which it was. And they hadn't been clear enough. It was in the fine print, but it was very, very, very fine print. And so that's technically a data breach. And so they couldn't fight the lawsuit on the basis that the fact said they had done something wrong. So they settled it, but the lawsuit contained some ridiculous claims. Like, I said these words near my iPhone, and then next week I had this thing advertised at me, which is absolutely, like, that's not what was going on. But anyway, they settled the case. And so all of the news outlets who like sensationalism picked and chose those parts of the lawsuit and said that Apple settled, therefore this must be true. And social media went nuts. You know how this goes, right? So the day after we recorded, Apple thought we should nip this in the bud. So they did one of their posts on their website laying out in very plain facts, we do not do any of this stuff with Siri. We never have, we never will. It just says what we already knew. But they say it really clearly, very emphatically. So if you have friends and family who may have got caught up in all of this, send them that link. Might help.
All right, I'm cutting you off. Maybe what I should do is I should buy a whole bunch of those plinks, and then whenever a guest is on the show and they say plink, they get one.
You're going to mail that? To
Well,
Ireland?
maybe I don't buy a bunch of them. I just keep sending them to people. I say, can I get your
I'm
home
sure
address?
that's going to cost a lot more than the value of the plink.
I want to send you a little token of my appreciation for being on the show. All right, let me catch the end here. Well, that's a couple of good palate cleansers. I can barely remember the horror that you just finished telling us about.
Yay. Right. Well, on that note then, I think it's probably time I tell everyone to do the most important thing, to stay patched so you stay secure.
There we go. I'll be into that. All right. All right. Well, I promised you a mammoth show, but that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com? Wait, I got to grab that guy's name. What was the guy's name? John. Well, I promised you a mammoth show, and I delivered. But that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like, just like John did, telling me about the voiceover problem with Buy Me a Coffee? Anyway, if you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can follow me on Mastodon. Where? podfeed.com/Mastodon. If you want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, you can go to podfeed.com/YouTube. If you want to join in the conversation, you can join our Slack community over at podfeed.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and all the other lovely Nosilla castaways. You can support the show at podfeed.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation at podfeed.com/donate with Apple Pay or any credit card, just like John. Or you can use podfeed.com/PayPal. If you want to join in the fun of this live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Boom. Boom. My voice seems to almost be better until between 5 and 6 p.m. And stay subscribed. Time for your chapter count, Steve.
All right, I'm on it.
Okay, hang on. Stay subscribed. It's a little loud. Pacific time, and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed.
All right. I got 9.
9. Let's
That's
see
a
what I
lot.
got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Thank goodness I didn't play Adam.
Yeah, that would have been a 2.5-hour show.
Yeah. Yeah, it was only that short because I forgot one of the segments. All right.
So make a note
What?
to play Adam next week.
Yeah, I just put it in my Notion database so I
you
won't
go.
forget.
Oop, get back there.
That's how it all works.
Good.
All right. Well, I think we're going to let class out early. It is 5:52 unless you want to sit here and watch me export the show.
Nobody does, Mom.
Hey. That's a quote from my son, Kyle, when I asked him when he was real little, I was putting him to bed, and I asked him if he wanted me to sing, and he said, "No one does, Mom." Little turd. Anyway, I want to show Sandy my my new phone case. So this is the purple, I'll be, of course, reviewing the change here, but this is the purple Beats Fit Pro case I bought for the iPhone 16 Pro. Really, really like this case. It's slick. It's beautiful. But Sandy and I both like this ring from Anchor, and I slap that on there, and that lets me pop this open, and I can hold it like this. I can kind of use it to prop up the phone as long as that's the angle I want the phone propped at. It can kind of do sideways pretty good. But I'll be interviewing, you'll be hearing the interview with a company called Taurus, and Taurus make a phone case that has a ring built in. Now, the nice thing about this ring case is this ring is really nice and soft, but this thing is amazing. So it pops out. It's MagSafe like that, but it pops out, and then you can rotate it, and you can put it at all different kinds of angles. Look at all those angles. Whee! And it could go this way, and it pops really nice. It's got a little detent. Hear it?
Yep.
But the other thing I really like is the buttons are better on the side. The side, what is this button called? Side button? The side button is less spongy. This one is kind of spongy. It's kind of like, it's not definitive. This clicks better, and so does the action button. It's a lot better. No, not the action button. The one on the other side, Kurt. Power button? I don't know. What's it called? The one that makes your phone go dark. Not action button. No, the one that makes it go like this.
On the right side.
Yeah. That's Forbes. No, not the photo button. That's the camera control button. That one's down here. That's the other thing. It's got a dugout for it, so it's easier to find. The other one is
make clear what phone you're on here because it changes.
iPhone 16 Pro, I'd said.
Okay.
So the action button or the camera control button is not recessed on this one. Sleep wake button, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good name for it.
Yeah, power button, sleep wake, I don't know. Anyway, I'm very excited.
Power.
And it weighs a lot less than the combo.
And I like the fact that the ring is flush when it's closed.
Yeah.
Flush with the case.
Yeah, which makes it a lot thinner. But it's also just like this, it's MagSafe. So what I'm always doing with the other one is taking the ring off to charge it, and then I have to remember to put the ring back on. So
that's a nice feature.
It came in purple.
Isn't that really lavender?
Yeah, they called it purple. I don't know. What color is that?
Oh, that's quite a difference.
Yeah. This one almost looks a little more like has a little bit of brown in it, I think, compared to this one. Anyway, lavender is a shaded purple.
All right.
Violet.
So you're just teasing them for that interview.
Right. Terms of my business. Please stay out of my business, Podfeet. Nice. All right.
You're going to be doing a review of that?
Yep.
So they'll get the interview and the review, kind of like Flick.
Yes, exactly.
Got
exactly. So we might want to move that one up in the rotation.
Okay.
Does this count as me telling you, or did I have to remember to tell you again tomorrow?
No, doesn't count.
Okay. All right. We are good.
Good.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.